So I just finished watching the documentary Surviving R. Kelly, and I got one word: wow. I never was a huge R. Kelly fan. I like a handful of his songs. I hear the word genius being tossed about with this guy. A couple people on the documentary, they use the word genius. I'm not buying it. I don't see it. I grew up in the age of Prince, Michael, Madonna, Bruce Springsteen, David Bowie, Stevie Wonder. These are geniuses. Well, Madonna more of a marketing genius. I mean, she's talented, but marketing genius. R. Kelly, nah. The persona put forth by this documentary would have me view R. Kelly as a despicable, low-life scumbag who needs to be jailed immediately. Okay, having gotten that out of the way, from a purely filmmaking standpoint, this thing was amazing. It aired on Lifetime a few weeks ago. I don't have Lifetime since I've kind of reduced my cable package, trying to save some money. But I saw that it was available on iTunes just a couple nights ago, and I downloaded it. I think it cost me about $15. And in 2 nights, I binged this thing. I was fascinated, repulsed, surprised. But I knew about the tape, the infamous tape, which I have not seen. And I remember the trial, but I didn't think anything more about it. I had no idea the depths of depravity that this guy, I want to say allegedly, had sank to. I mean, sex cults? No idea. But yeah, from a filmmaking standpoint, this thing was superb. Working in the media industry myself, I've shot a fair share of documentaries. This was going back a few years, but I know what it takes to produce a documentary. Typically, the budgets aren't as big as like your feature films, but I find that they are much harder to produce because you don't know what you're getting. As you're shooting, you don't know what you're going to end up with. There's no real solid script because you're documenting something. So you're kind of writing as you go. You have to do tons of research in advance. You have to see how many people can we get on camera? What story are they going to tell? Do we have enough people to counterbalance what this person says, that person says? It goes on and on and on. Do we have enough B-roll? Because you don't want to just see people talking throughout the whole thing. That will get boring. You need it to be dynamic. Well, this documentary hit it on all cylinders, man. They had a number of people who were willing to come forth and tell their story. I think that is the most amazing achievement, given the subject matter, that they found so many people willing to speak. They used footage from some pretty well-publicized interviews. The interview with Touré, where R. Kelly asks him to define what age he's talking about when Touré plainly asks him, do you like teenage girls? And they used the interview with the British, it was Huffington Post. They used footage from the Huffington Post interview.
Okay, I have a video question for you from a fan.
If you no video questions for me because this interview is over.
Okay.
So I like the fact that they stayed current using footage from that recent interview. One thing I noticed is that they had very little counter argument. Only person I remember who kind of countered what everyone was saying was R. Kelly's brother, who is in prison. And I guess, I don't know what he's in prison for, but his viewpoints, while he's entitled to them, were somewhat shocking. I had read an article where one of the filmmakers, Dream Hampton, if I'm not mistaken, she said that a lot of entertainment figures who had worked with R. Kelly refused to go on camera. And that's why I guess we don't get that point of view. So I can't hold that against the documentary. But she did say, and this was pretty cool, she did say that she really admired John Legend, who does appear, for being willing to go on camera. Some other people appeared that offered a counter argument, and that was Touré. I know he's embroiled in some of his own controversy for appearing. And Charlemagne the God, he appeared. I think he's got some stuff going on too as a result of that. But I really credit this documentary for what looks like a massive undertaking. I don't want to give anything away. Not that this is a traditional narrative, but I don't want to say anything that would ruin the experience of watching this thing. But there's one segment that I found the most riveting, and it's a segment where a mother travels to Beverly Hills or some part of Los Angeles to try to find her daughter. I can't remember the names right now. I remember the daughter's first name was Dominique, and apparently she had been manipulated to the point where she was made to look like a tomboy and tatted up and all that. I can just imagine how the filmmakers must have felt when they were able to have this dropped in their lap. This kind of a breaking news. It felt like breaking news or unfolding news as I was watching. That was amazing, seeing this mother walk into the hotel room and try to grab her daughter. It was very moving. So at the end of the day, this documentary was well crafted. I believe it was well researched. I don't think they had an agenda. They were just piggybacking on what all of the survivors had to say and just letting them tell their story. Just a voluminous amount of information spread over 6 hour long or 45-minute long episodes. And like I said, I couldn't put the remote down. I binged the whole thing in 2 nights. I don't know how many stones there are to overturn, but I got the sense that this documentary turns every stone. They cover every angle, every aspect of this whole thing with Kelly. So I'm giving this the rare Q Storm 5 reel review. 5 out of 5 reels for this. I think the last time I gave that was it was more of a narrative, a fictionalized narrative, the OJ story with Cuba Gooding Jr. The People versus OJ, I think it was called. That was my last 5 out of 5. This was really amazing. If you're an R. Kelly fan, you're probably not going to be convinced by this documentary, if you're not convinced by now. I mean, I was convinced, and I'm not even that big a fan. I didn't follow him that much, but I had no idea of how truly depraved this guy allegedly is. So there you have it, 5 out of 5 reels. I don't do that too often, but this one earns it, and that's the martini.